And hello there to you. How are you today? Terry Brock here, talking about some great ideas that we picked up at Podfest Global and how you can use content and other things. And to do this more effectively, I'm bringing in the one and only Gina Carr, who's joining me right now. I think we have the matching red stuff going on today, Gina. How you doing
We
today?
do. Is it Christmas or Valentine's Day? Did we?
Well, it's always Valentine's Day with you and me because it's just
Oh
fun to be
yeah.
with you. Yes, indeed.
Where's my
So,
little heart thingy here?
yeah, do we have a little
Yeah.
heart we can put up there? Oh, I don't even have my graphics
We
ready to
we
go.
do. We do.
Oh,
Here
there
we
we
go.
go. Okay, got a little heart. That's nice. I like that. That's good. Yeah, that's a handy little thing that we got over there at the store. I like it. There. But anyway, tonight what we're going to talk about is some of the features that are there, and we want to hear from you. We're using Restream right now. Restream's a great little tool that gives us the ability to go out to a lot of different places. Matter of fact, hang on a minute. I'm going to bring this up here. There we go. Restream has a deal for you where you can go out to 30 different locations at the same time. Not only at the same time, but also simultaneously. So it's the way I like to say it. So, work with me on that. Gina puts up with me for this. But you can get also $10 credit when you go into the paid plan on this by using this affiliate link here, bit.ly Restream for you. Notice the number 4 there. Pretty clever, huh? Kind of nice way to do it. But that's what we're doing today, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different things as we move along and move forward. And Gina, we just got back from 2 weeks, although we were doing it virtually, 2 weeks of Podfest Global, and got a lot of tips. So I wanted to talk to you tonight and find out what kind of tips did you get that we can share with the folks joining us on what's happening.
Oh my goodness. Well, there's so many sessions, and it was interesting to attend Podfest in so many different capacities. As a sponsor, it's our first time ever sponsoring Podfest, which was a great experience. As a speaker, I helped to moderate and host some of the sessions, and then I was backstage working on some of the sessions as a helper, basically an assistant to track down the speakers. Where are they? Who's supposed to be up next? And that sort of thing. So it was interesting experience being in all those different capacities and seeing the behind the scenes of what Chris Kremitzos and his team have put together, which has been really fantastic.
Oh, yeah, he's done a
And
marvelous job with that. We had over 5,000 people attending this, so it's pretty significant. So, what's some of the things that stood out for you and the content and ideas that you'll be able to implement?
well, one of them that I'm definitely going to follow up on more was presented by a guy named Jim Foose, Fuhs, who happened to win one of the 2 Brio cameras that we gave away.
Yes,
And he
congratulations to
had
him.
2 sessions, both of which were very informative. One was on Twitter, one was on Amazon shows. And so right now I'm just going to talk about the Amazon shows. Um, Basically, they found a way that they are part of the Amazon ecosystem, and they are able to bring on equipment and talk about equipment, things that people can buy. And so their affiliate links are used for purchases, and they come on and talk about speakers, and I mean, not speakers, microphones, cameras. They talk about a lot of different things, different types of equipment. And I just thought that was really interesting. It's a little hard to qualify for, apparently, but if you have a big following and you want to try it out, you can just do a Google search for how to do my own Amazon show, and you can plug into that.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea, a good way for taking what you're already doing and extending it to another place. Amazon, I think, is looking at what's happening with live streaming, and they realize it's a real good thing. And so they want to get involved in it. We tend to really like Restream, using that right now, getting all the different destinations and the tools that they have with it. So it's real nice for that. And as I look at some of the things, let me mention something I saw from Saida Murphy. She is a surgeon at Sloan Hospital, but also excellent on doing content. She does this for African American women predominantly, but it applies to all of us too. Repurposing and diversifying. Now, when I hear diversify, I think, okay, I understand that in that context, and that's a good thing. She does it with content, talking about repurpose, taking the material that you already have, and then cutting out pieces of it sending that out to other places, and then using a diversification where you will diversify and go beyond what the original point was. As an example, you might have, there's 3 points to this thing that you want to do, and of those three, you want to do this and this and this. And so what they would do is she would then allow you to expand on that, bring in additional information. So you're diversifying that even more. I thought that was a pretty nice little trick. And Gina, that's something that we're seeing a lot now of repurposing and doing more. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that that's absolutely critical, and that's my focus word for the year is repurpose. Let's get some video out in the world. Let's turn it into podcasts. Let's amplify it, chop it up into shorter segments and amplify those across the different social channels, turn it into text, turn it into images. There's just so much opportunity for repurposing what we're already doing, and I want to do a lot more of that.
Yeah, very good. Oh, and by the way, we really would love to hear from you. If you got some comments on any of those things, please let us know. We would love to hear from you, get some ideas. Matter of fact, we have a Facebook user. Hey, here's my favorite couple. Well, thank you for that, Facebook user, whoever you might be. And put that. And then another one says, and mine too. So we have another Facebook user there. Well, thank you much. And we're glad to do these kind. You know, Gina, it is kind of fun for me being able to have you, of course, as my life partner, but also business partner. And so we can go to these conferences together and do these kind of things together. Just really enjoy that. And where it's appropriate for others, we encourage you to consider how you can do that with your partner as well. At least that's what I think. What do you think, Gina?
Well, I think that that could certainly work well for a lot of folks, and it's fun to do this with you too. It's great that we have a lot that we can talk about in terms of what we're learning. We're both very dedicated, lifelong learners and very curious people, and so it's a lot of fun to go to school, learn, and share what we've learned with each other, and now sharing it with others as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, another thing that
And so, oh,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say for those listening in the audience, I know a lot of our friends and fans were at Podfest, and so if you have something to share that you learned at Podfest or one of your favorite speakers from Podfest, please put that in the comments as well. That would be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear from you. Just leave that comment in there, whatever platform you're getting this on, because we're going out now to Facebook and a few different groups there. We're going to YouTube. We're going over to LinkedIn, and we're going to Twitter. So we get a lot of coverage this way by using that. And speaking of Restream and what we're doing with Restream, did I mention the code that we have here that's available for you? You can get that and enjoy it enormously. But one of the people there who's the head of the ambassador program that I'm involved in, Anya Ravina, said that what we need to do, Razina, I mean, she said she's doing a lot more with streaming than with pre-recorded production. And I thought, no, I kind of like the idea of pre-recorded, but then she mentioned some really good points that got me moving more toward doing more live stream. You can create it, you do it faster. When you do the production and you do it right, there's editing and it takes more time in the prep, takes more time afterwards to put all that together. And if you're willing to go out there and just bear it all and go for it and just be willing to take the risk, doing a live stream gives you a lot of excitement. Gina, you have helped me on that. You and I have talked about that for a long time because you tend to favor the live stream over the recorded production as well. What are your thoughts?
Well, I strongly prefer live stream. I just think it's, for me, it feels more natural. And I love the fact that I don't have to do a lot of editing or any editing actually to get it out into the world. And I think that people are more accepting of knowing that, hey, it's live, this is it, we're real, and it's more authentic. Plus, the algorithms love the live stream format. So Facebook loves it and YouTube loves it, and they love that we're live and that it's being broadcast that way. So they're more likely to show it to a lot more people.
Yeah, I think that's real good. So I am now doing more live streaming. And the nice thing about that, coupling that with the repurposing thing that we've talked about, you can take your live streams and then go back over it and pull out excerpts that are particularly good, re-showing that and then putting that, say, for instance, as an Instagram post. Or maybe you might have your guest speaker. You've got a guest that's on there, you're interviewing, and she says something that's just really brilliant. Well, what you do is you just create a little graphic with her picture there and then the quote right here, and to say, to hear that whole interview, click here. And so you set it up that way and it can work out real nicely, repurposing and diversifying, because you can say, hey, here's the quote we had. We talked about these things. We just want to go a little bit farther in it. So I think there's some good things there. That was what Anya was saying. And I tend to agree with her on that now. She's got me so that I want to do a little bit more on the live stream than I'll be doing with production. Even though I'll be doing production and recording, I still do that. And for podcast, obviously we can do it. But also, speaking of podcast, use your live streams to get the content for your podcast. Bring that out, repurpose that, and that way you're getting a lot more. Gina, what else did you gain
Exactly.
from Podfest?
Well, I was just going to point out the final thing that I love about live streaming is that you have the opportunity to interact with your audience in real time and
Oh,
get
yeah,
feedback, get questions, and so I do love that. So let's see
I agree.
another thing. Some other things that I learned at Podfest. There's so many, but I'm going to go back to Jim Foose again. Fuhs. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly or not, but I know he's a big part of the Podfest community. He talked about Twitter. And so one of the things that he talked about two things that I had not heard of before: Twitter Spaces and Twitter Fleets. So Twitter Spaces is like Clubhouse, which many people are hearing about Clubhouse, how that's so exciting. But of course, Clubhouse is only available on Apple devices. Well, Twitter Spaces is on Android. And apparently you don't need to do invites and all that, but it's an audio platform,
Is it only
and you
on
get on
Android?
and you
You say it's on Android. Is it only on Android or is it on iOS and Android?
I don't know if it's only on Android, but it's definitely on Android, whereas
Okay,
Clubhouse is not currently on
correct.
Android at all.
Yep.
All right, so that's an interesting thing to check out. I'm definitely gonna find out more about that. And then Twitter Fleets. It's, it only lasts 24 hours and then it disappears, so it's like a Facebook story or an Instagram story. So it's only up there for a little while and then it's gone. So, those are a couple things that he talked about that I thought were pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. There were so many things there, and going almost, it wasn't 24 hours a day, but because it was global and they were bringing in people from around the world, literally, and with different languages, I thought it was great. We saw some events being held U.S. Eastern Time at 5 a.m. So obviously 5 a.m. here. Well, that's, let's say, 10 o'clock over in England. And on the continent, it's 11 o'clock, in Europe. And you look at that also then it's early evening for the Philippines, for China. And so people coming in with the different languages. I think it was great to see that. And then so many other options that are available. That's why we're going to be spending some time going over the recordings. I really want to do that. I took a lot of notes during that. And by the way, taking notes, I found a really good way to do that is using Google Docs. I use Google Docs and I use the voice typing so that I could put content in there and just make notes on my own. I'd have my smartphone and talk into it when the presenter would say something. I'd summarize it real quickly. Or I could put my smartphone right down by the microphone of my laptop and be able to record and get voice typing pretty decent transcripts of what's going on. Not perfect, but it was pretty good. And that really was a nice way to work with it. And I find that having those kind of applications really work well. How about you, Gina? What are your thoughts now on going forward after the event and the idea of what we can do after the events that we all attend, whether it's Podfest or something else? What kind of plans do you have this next week to assimilate and review, practice the material?
Well, I've been focused on getting up earlier, and I've just completed the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, where he talks about getting up early and getting those important things done. And I know you live that. You get up a lot of times at 4, sometimes before 4. And so
I
I've
got up at
done
2
that
once a
some.
day this week. It was just woke up at 2, so I got so much done. It was great that by 7 in the morning, I'd already completed most everything I needed to do for the day.
I know, I know. So that's very inspiring. And sometimes I get up at 4, but I haven't been as consistent as I would like to be. So my point is that I really want to get up early and get in that education, that personal development, professional development that I love doing. And it always seems like it gets squeezed out. So we have access to these fantastic recordings from Podfest. There was just so much going on that we couldn't attend everything. I couldn't attend everything I wanted to attend. And so I do want to go back over a lot of that. And reach out to a lot of the speakers and bring them in. There's several speakers I want to bring into Video Rockstars because our Video Rockstars community is focused on helping people create, amplify, and monetize their videos. And there were so many people there that were teaching elements of that that would be great for Video Rockstars. So I've already reached out to a number of people, said, hey, I want to get you on the schedule. And we have our 30 videos in 30 days a challenge coming up starting March 15th. So that's going to be a good time to plug a lot of those folks in as well. Yeah, so that's part of what I'm going to do. How about you?
Oh yeah, I'm planning to go over in the morning. I find the morning time is particularly good for me for doing a lot of the study and quiet time. I can focus on it, and so I'm planning this week to go over that. And as soon as we can get access to the recordings, I want to do that as well. We got the plan. I like what they did is they had a code that you could use so that you can get in on the lowest level to just attend and watch for one price. But if you paid a little bit more, different levels that are available, you could get access to the recordings. I'm seeing that happen with a lot of virtual presentations and a lot of events right now, where they're making that so that, hey, you can get a little bit this way, you can get a little bit that way, and plan to put some time in there and work with it. And also, another nice thing, I have a brand spanking new, as of today, a new PlexiCam. I've been using a PlexiCam and it's really good, and got a new one today. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you this here. Let me jump over to my other camera here. I've got my other camera, and here's my PlexiCam. You might wonder, what in the world is that? Well, you see, here's my Brio that's sitting on there, and it's got an acrylic-made device that loops over the top of my monitor here and stretches down there so that now I can see through it. And the reason for that is so that when you're working with people, when you're doing your webinars, when you're using your video, I can look directly here into the webcam, and it's positioned down lower so that I can see other people while I'm doing this. So I can see them very close to that if I'm viewing another person. And it gives you the ability mainly to connect with people. Gina, how's my eye contact coming through right now as I'm talking to you?
Very nice.
Oh,
Very, very
good.
good.
I
Yes.
understand you got a new
And I have a
PlexiCam
new PlexiCam
as
also.
well.
Yes,
Tell
I
us about your
do.
new fancy schmancy PlexiCam there as I turn on the light over here.
Okay, well, because of my setup, the basic PlexiCam, what they call the mini, which is what I first purchased, just didn't work that great for me because it's too this here is too short. And so I have a brand new one, and I'll do a bit of an unboxing. So I've already opened the box, but this is what it comes in, and then it comes in this nice little case. So I guess it can be portable and transported later, but it's in these different pieces. Ah, yeah. So it's a little, it's not hard to put together, and I'll turn on the video or Terry will help me. But this
Mm-hmm.
has this is the clip part, and then this is the longer stand part now. So I have this piece that's going to come out that's a lot longer than what I had before. And that's going to help me a lot because my monitor is just too far away, and I having the camera way back on the monitor too far back just wasn't working for me. So this one's a little bit more expensive. It wasn't crazy expensive though, maybe $69 or so. And I've got to give a big shout out to the PlexiCam folks. They gave us several PlexiCams to give out at Podfest this week. So we gave several of those away yesterday. That was really cool. So thank
Yeah.
you, PlexiCam.
A big shout out to Dan and Tom up there at PlexiCam. We really love what you got. And I would say for those of you who are communicating and you're using video, PlexiCam is, it's a real inexpensive thing. 69, they got another one I think is $49 or something. Real inexpensive, but it makes a world of difference when you're looking at someone versus when you've seen them before. They're talking to you like this. Gina, you've seen the people like this, they're talking to you, but they're looking over there or they're looking down somewhere else. Well, you want to make it so that most of your view is right there into the webcam. Now you'll look aside. This is how we normally operate. You don't sit there and try to stare them down like that. That's kind of icky. I think that's the technical term for it, icky. But what you want to do
Icky.
instead is make it so that it's fun and you focusing there. The PlexiCam lets you do that, and I'd recommend that. Well, let's see. I think we got there. I had one other thing I wanted to mention here as well. Mark Guberti. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. That's Marcgiberti. Guberti. I've seen him on some other programs and heard him on podcasts before. Always good. Always just incredibly good stuff. So, Mark, if you're watching this, appreciate it. You and I don't know each other, Mark, not yet, but you've done some good things about building your audience through podcasts. using podcasts and reaching out to the guests, letting them get information and about your audience, you get about theirs, and interview each other. Doing a lot of good things there. Yeah, we kind of know that. And also, I love what he said, and he reminded me, go visit Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups. Get to know what people are talking about. What are their issues there? Because they're going to often share some real world issues. You don't go in there trying to say, hi, I'm wonderful. Here's a link to my place. No, you want to get known as someone who gives value, who helps others, who really gets the kind of information out there that people want to know about. And when you're doing that, then people go, hey, that's good. And think about it. Most of the people that are going to buy your products can figure out how to get in touch with you if you make it obvious, if you're there in a wonderful way. So those were just two of the things that Mark mentioned I thought that were really good. I'm anxious to go back and go over his recording. I wasn't able to be there all the time because it was during work time, and so things would come up and I couldn't catch all of the episodes. But this way I keyed into my mind, ooh, this one was particularly good. This one was really good. And this one over here, yeah, it's okay, but not so much for me. So then I don't have to go back and review it, because we're going to get a bunch of videos coming in with 500 some speakers. Yeah, there's a lot of content there. It'll be good. Well, Gina, any
Oh my
final words
goodness.
before we kick it off here, or turn it? I say turn it off here, and we'll be going on. And I think we're going to watch a few movies, maybe more movies than the grown-ups say we can tonight.
Well, that will be great. Well, yeah, I'm excited about this week in Video Rockstars because we have a couple of things going on. In our Wednesday session, we have Belinda Rosenblum, who's going to be talking about how to manage your cash flow. And she's created really successful online courses and membership programs. And she's going to be sharing some of her keys and secrets to that. Of course, all this is video based. And so that's where it ties into Video Rockstars. And so I'm excited to learn from her on Wednesday at 4 p.m. in our Video Rockstar session. And then Saturday, we are going to be bringing Nate Woodbury, who has
Yes.
helped several people earn millions of dollars using YouTube, and he's going to pull back the curtains and show us some of those secrets. So, secrets of seven-figure earners, how to leverage YouTube for more influence and impact and profits. And so that's going to be on this Saturday, the 13th. And you can register for that at youtubersmasterclass.com. So it's totally free. And youtubersmasterclass.com, you could go on over and register for that if you'd like.
Sounds good. Well, Gina, as always, it's wonderful to have you join us on these live streams as we use that wonderful, beautiful tool called Restream. And Restream gives us the ability to get a lot done, communicate, and connect. We appreciate all of you joining us that are here live, as well as those you joining us recording. By all means, if you're seeing the recording of this, you're saying, oh, this is what they did before, leave a note, because we monitor these, particularly within 24 to 48 hours of what came out. And if you've got a question or you wanted to make a comment about something, we'd love to hear from you. On behalf of Video Rockstars and Gina Carr, I'm going to turn it over to her. Looks like she had something she was going to say. Gina, what's up?
Oh, I just want to say thank you, Jeffrey Lodick. I see your comment there. You guys are awesome. Terry, maybe you could feature that. And then the other comments that had come through. Thank you, Deborah Gardner and John Tenza, for your comments. We appreciate that very much. And so we love this facet of Restream and Ecamm, where we can feature the comments that are coming up, and I think that's so cool. So thanks, Jeffrey. I imagine you were at Podfest this past week. I didn't see you. You were probably running in some different circles and tracks than I was. Uh, so Jeffrey says, are we liking Restream over StreamYard? And so we have a little bit of a house divided here right now, just sort of temporarily. I started on StreamYard and I still have a subscription there. And like a lot of things, when you're used to something, it's just easier to go back to what you know. But Restream seems to be a little easier to use, and I think the video is higher quality. So right now I have subscriptions to both, and I'm trying to move myself over to Restream and start using that more. Terry's totally on Restream and is loving it.
Yeah, I think they're both good. In a way, it's kind of like, okay, which is better, Ford or Chevy? But I tend to like Restream because of the quality, the number of destinations you can go to. One of the things they've just announced that they're going to be doing with Restream is where you can get separate audio tracks from different guests. So if you've got different guests on there, you can bring those in. And their studio is really nice as well. I think they've done just a marvelous job with that, moving it in and out. And Gina, I noticed moving in and out, you're doing that very nicely there too with it. With the camera. We can do. It's fun to do all these crazy, wild, wonderful things with our cameras as they move. And Jeffrey Loden, thank you very much. Always good to hear from you, my friend. And we will then scoot along here as we get ready for a wonderful evening. Lots of good things happening. We appreciate you joining us. And come on back, see us again sometime, and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye now.
See you guys. Bye.